Now you're probably thinking, how can this be worse than Applejack and Rainbow Dash's sequence? I'm just gonna get my rant out of the way and I'll explain about that soon. Now, in my opinion, Rarely didn't do anything wrong in this and she should have stayed focused on her music. But she really doesn't deserve all of this. Even when she completely says, I wish I never agreed to be in it, which is a line that I personally despise because it's cringeworthy. I know shouting can be a good thing if you want to make an argument much better, but that was way too far. And guess what happens? After when Rarely unforcibly, and what I mean unfortunately is because I really doubt that she will ever do this in real life, tell Sweetbelle about this whole thing. Sweetbelle is completely snapped, and she completely about to call Rarely's parents about this. And if you really think that her using her parents was worse, just like Applejack's, well, guess what? This is not over yet. Because she also go to her boutique and then... Oh my god. She completely caused everyone else a story. An unneeded, personal story that no one should ever do in the exposure. I'm speechless. I really am. And you wanna know why this is worse? It's because she lost everything that she has. I mean, just take a look at this. The fashionista who had just lost her family, including her sister, and her boutique, and lost her inspiration and creative mojo. Her spirits had gone so low over recent events that she was so sad to make a single outfit. Oh my god. You know what she's gonna do after that? She's gonna commit suicide by hanging herself. And I'm not being sick, I'm being serious. This is too dark, even for a fanfic that is for rated E. Oh my god. I mean, really, I hate Rarely's lines in the argument, but I don't hate her development, what she did in the argument. Jeez, this is just... Really. It just makes her life not worth living anymore. Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy doesn't get a bad sequence, but what we get from Pinkie Pie is that she's gonna be grounded, which is just very impossible because she's just doing all the fun and stuff like that. And as for Fluttershy, it's animals and Aesop and Misa. I don't know. I have no idea what this word says. These two words. I can't spell these. But my point is that these two characters didn't make the arguments worse. In fact, bands have quiet memos and just want to be very shy and not that brave enough. But the fact that they're still going to get consequences out of it is just impossible. In fact, that MalekPony just doesn't understand everything of what's going to happen after that the Dazzlings are going to take over the school and the Equestria as well. But the lamest and most stupid way to make everything in the middle of this chapter completely unnecessary is to give Sunset more development. Because she really thinks that the future of what the Rainbooms are going to have won't be possible because they might turn it around. Man, that chapter was like 5,000 words. And you completely made this chapter completely pointless when you had Sunset Shimmer completely said about what the future is gonna come. Even though it won't be possible because everyone is still gonna be under the spell. And then let's get into Twilight. Now, this chapter ends with Twilight running away to stop the Dazzlings all by herself. By the way, the author's notes are terrible. Enough said, because I don't even want to go through them. MalekPony gave Twilight a change of heart of a realization. Oh my god. Now, I found this heartwarming when I comment down his fanfic, but the more I look at it, it's just hard to go along with it because Twilight is so out of character in this. Seriously, no matter if it's a rated M thing or anything that is not for kids, that doesn't mean you can change the personality of the characters. This is why Double Rainbow gets so much hate from some fans. And don't even get me started later in this chapter, because it also drags on for way too long, while the characters learn their mistakes and completely tucked on how they're gonna beat the Dazzlings and the Siren spell thing. And you know what? I'm pretty much done here. And I'm not saying I'm done with this story or that kind of stuff. He completely stops there because the rest of the chapters are basically the same thing you see in Rainbow Rocks. And nothing new except with additional dialogue, but that's basically it. Speaking of additional dialogue or text, we get this. Oh my god. About the more lessons we get about the Rainbows fighting with each other and about their bad futures is just really not that interesting. In fact, it just makes the chapter even more unnecessary and worthless, especially with this rewrite. And another lesson is that he completely made Twilight a fool, and the lesson is not to make a fool out of yourself. First of all, I really doubt that MalekPony or Equestria girls will ever do that, because that goes way too far, because it's more edgy and stuff like that. And the third lesson of Twilight having a grudge with the Rainbows just shows to me that she's probably going to use her castle if Princess Celesta finds out about this. I guarantee it. And the rest of the paragraph just contains of the shine like rainbows, except that you have to have the music go in the background and you have to sing along with it, which doesn't save the final chapter of this. So, what have we learned? Well, I'm not gonna start MalekPony because this is his first fanfic and pretty much his only fanfic he ever did. However, the issue with that is that he only did this to explore his... He only did this to take out his anger on the argument of the Rainbows. And I never did that kind of stuff when I watch Rainbow Rocks in the argument scene. Because it's... The fact that I really hate it doesn't mean they deserve a bad future or what's going to happen next. He just went too far in this and he doesn't understand anything of what he's doing. Also, I completely comment down his fanfic on why it's so bad, and I put down so many reasons onto why this fanfic was terrible. And I already explained it to you, so I'm not going to talk about it, especially the third one. Anyway, why am I doing this rant or review on a fanfic? Look, my point is that the argument is just something I cannot get along with it because of how torn down it is. Even though that Rainbow Rocks is a great movie, that doesn't mean it can be a very great movie. Because the fact that there's so much issues I have with the argument is just hard to buy. Especially that MalekPony doesn't understand his limits on making this fanfic. And this is something I really don't like about the main five's argument, is that, to me, they literally missed the point of doing this entire thing to save the school and Equestria. You can tell that he just went too far, and the fact that all the chapters are so long, by that point, the Sirens could have won. Seriously. Starting for time is always a big issue when you're in a serious situation like this. And this is why this fanfic was so bad, because of how long it was, and how boring, and just terrible, and how forced it was. People completely didn't like this because it was so bad and not even worth reading. Especially that MalekPony missed the point. I mean, really. I just cannot tolerate this whatsoever. You see, after I gave my examples of how this fanfic was terrible and why it's literally so disliked it, he completely typed in that this was nothing more than a wage fanfic. And you know what? That's really great to him. Especially that you just need to keep it calm and go with it. Like I did. Well, not the counterparts thing, but that's a different story. And I will admit, he told me that I gave him a valuable lesson about this whole thing. And you know what? I really respect him. Not just because this is the first and only fanfic he ever made, but also his mistakes. Anyway, I should probably go back to the rant. I know this argument doesn't destroy the entire movie, but it just feels so harmful to sit through, even though it's a setup. I mean, the fact that the Rainbows are giving the Dazzlings the advantage is just hard to watch. Especially that they see everyone in the beginning of the film that they were under the spell. I just can't get over it. I mean, I understand that they had this band issue at the beginning of this movie, but that scene, well, everyone is just under the spell and the Rainbooms are just looking at them, makes me feel like this was completely unnecessary, even though that this is something that bands always go through. Anyway, here's how I do it, unlike MalekPony. Now, I'm not saying that this is what is supposed to happen, or what needs to be happening in this movie, but something that could have worked out for this argument. But the thing is, that probably take up too much time, and the Dazzlings probably win at the end. But for the sake of my opinions, want to prove how this could have been done better, here's how I do it.